Hello, 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 hello. Facebook has changed their platform, and so I am unable to actually see who is in the room. Fix my little light there. You guys can see the light shining off my glasses there. Um, because I can't see you. Oh, I left my water. Because I can't see you, I'm going to just ask you to send me a thumbs up or a heart or something. Say hello in the comment box or something, just so that I can see you. Because I can't see you. I can't see you. I can't see you. I don't know who's in the room. I want to at least address you. I want to at least say hey, right? At least say hey. Um, so let's get started. You know, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dorinda Monique Klink. I am an income protection strategist. If you are one of my Instagram friends, um, you know me as the business barber. But I work in the financial services industry. I also am a financial strategist and business coach. I help individuals with their, upgrading their businesses and things in the beauty and barber industry. But today, what I want to talk about is something I heard on the news today about 401k. So, of course, that would not be my beauty and barber industry individuals. Those would be my people on the corporate front lines of things, right? And so today I was, pardon me, I'm dealing with some sinus issues, you guys. Um, I've had bad sinus issues for years. But today I heard a article report about 401k, right? And so right now, as we're going through this financial crisis with the coronavirus and all of these businesses shutting down, people are either working from home or have lost jobs. We are seeing a lot of people in financial despair, and they're wondering what they can do to survive, or they're trying to think ahead. Maybe they're okay right now, but because we don't know how long this is going to last, they're trying to figure out how they are going to survive. And so I heard a news report today that stated that the IRS was loosening the rules on their 401k and 403b. And so I wanted to just talk about that a little bit, because a lot of times people flock to things when they hear it. But I'm known as the income protection person, right? I go by the income protection people. And so I let folks know all the time, everything that glitters isn't gold. And so don't fall trapped to some of these things just because you hear it. You have to make sure that you are taking your particular situation into consideration. Check with your accountant, your tax professional, your banker, your financial services person, and your personal circumstances before before you are quick to make these moves. So normally first of all, let's talk about what is a 401k and a 403b, right? They have different names, but they're pretty much the same. 401k is for individuals in the corporate world, right? Whereas 403B is for more government type employees, teachers, county employees, things like that. And basically, in a nutshell, without going super detailed, it is designed for you to save money for retirement. Bottom line, it's designed for you to take money from your paycheck before they take taxes out and place that into an investment vehicle so that you can then save money for retirement in your future, and on a tax deferred basis, meaning you don't take taxes out initially. The taxes come out when you retire, when you withdraw those funds on the back end, hoping that at that in time at a lower tax bracket, and now you've kind of killed two birds with one stone, so to speak, right? That was the way it was designed. There were all the rules in place that said you cannot withdraw those funds prior to the age of 59 and a half, because if you were to withdraw those funds, you would be hit with a 10% penalty. However, there were some instances where you could take funds in a loan or B in a withdrawal in the event of things such as a hardship, such as to prevent a foreclosure or major medical expenses, or even sometimes in a first-time home buyer situation, right? So what's happening now, because of this coronavirus pandemic, they've changed some rules a little bit. They've lightened the rules, so to speak, to allow you to take up to $100,000 of your 401k or your 403b in order to stay afloat, right, during this pandemic episode that we're going through. However, I want to warn you that the information that I share with you today is purely educational. I am not in any way advocating that you run out and deplete your 401k, nor am I telling you to not go out and take money from your 401k. Only you and your financial advisor, your accountants, your tax professionals, things of that nature can make that determination. Hey, Margot, all I'm doing is sharing with you what these new rules are that the IRS has put in place, I'm sure only temporarily, in order to allow individuals to soften the blow of this coronavirus pandemic, right? So normally at 59 and a half, you're able to withdraw those funds penalty free. Anything more than 59 and a half, you're usually hit with a 10% penalty on top of the tax implications of that. Right now, they're saying that they will allow you to take up to $100,000 of your 401k without penalty if you are under 59 and a half. Let me stress, without penalty. They did not say without tax, right? They did not say without tax. So what does that really mean, right? Understand, first and foremost, let's go back a bit. Let's rewind this just a tiny bit, right? Understand, whenever someone gives you something, they're not giving it to you because it's just out of the kindness of their heart. They're expecting something in return, even if that something is something as small as a thank you. No one gives without giving something in return, right? No one gives without expecting something in return, right? So the government is giving these stimulus checks in hopes to stimulate the economy in order to get you guys out of the house when time comes and back to spending, so we can get that cycle going again, right? Once that cycle begins to pick up, what's going to happen, and this is economics 101, once that the economy begins to pick up, then all of a sudden the interest rates are going to begin to increase again, because now you have, when those interest rates drop, you're going to rush out and get new loans. You're going to rush out and get credit cards. You're going to rush out and do all of these things because now you feel like a superhero, because interest rates went from 24% down to, let's say, 3%, 5%, 7%. And you say, oh, I can afford that. And they've loosened the rules on credit reporting and all of that so that you are able to do this, right? I don't need you to follow me here. So once this happens, and then the economy is stimulated in the manner that they want it to be stimulated, these interest rates now increase, right? And because you've bitten off more than, well, maybe not you, but because most people are going to bite off more than what they can chew, they're going to miss payments, and they're going to now get hit by those credit card companies and those loan entities. You know, they're going to be hit by increasing interest rates in order to repay back those loans, right? Again, nobody gives anything for free, right? They do it with the expectation of something. Now, what's happening with these changes in 401k is this: they're now allowing you to withdraw these funds. Now, in some cases, in some instances, individuals can definitely benefit from utilizing those funds because they are in that type of fund. Most people are off work 2-3 weeks. If you can't sustain 2-3 weeks, then I strongly suggest that you find a different type of work. You need to find a different form of income, because if you can't survive 2 weeks, then you're clearly in the wrong business and you're selling yourself short. But here's the truth about this: now that they're lenient about how you can pull funds from your 401k, again, a 401k and a 403b is a tax deferred entity, created to allow you to build a retirement fund. Now, if you go and start withdrawing those funds, what happens? They're waiving the penalty, but you're still hit with the tax. So who's going to pay back this stimulus? They don't want to just go and super tax the American people, so they have to figure out some other type of way in order to recoup these funds. How do they do that? Wow, millions of people have 401ks. If we say we can pull money out of 401ks, then guess what? They're going to pull the money, and at tax time next year, they're going to have to pay it back. Simple as that. They're going to have to pay it back because it's going to be considered a distribution of income, and it's going to become taxable because it was once tax deferred, and when you pull it out, it's now a taxable event. I need you to understand this. I need you to understand this. I need you to understand this. Now, we're not even going to talk about, hey, well, Dorinda, the market is crashing. I need to save as much money as I can. I need to take my money out. We're not even going to talk about that. That's a whole nother conversation that I don't want to get into. Right now, we only want to talk about what's happening when they, lessen the rules on these 401k, which actually in a nutshell is a great thing, but again, for the right people and the right reasons. Don't just go run to get your money in a reactive manner, because being reactive can cause you some major issue. So let's say, for instance, you're a single mom or a single dad or whatever, low income, and you normally were getting earned income because you made just under that threshold for earned income. Now all of a sudden take $25,000 out of your 401k. That puts you above that earned income rate. So now guess what? You just lost your earned income. You no longer qualify for that next year. Then you get taxed, and then you still have to repay those funds. If you don't repay, and I should go back a little bit, if you don't repay those funds is when they put on that taxable event, right? In the event that your company lays you off, they are allowing you up to 3 years to replace those funds. Normally, once you withdraw it, it's withdrawn, but they are allowing you up to 3 years to replace those funds. So basically, they're giving you a 3-year no interest loan, so to speak, for lack of a better description. I mean, don't quote me. This is just my way of describing it so that you can kind of understand it. But the bottom line here is that if it's not repaid, it does become taxable income. Now, also something that's very important that you must understand is that right now, with a lot of businesses losing lots and lots and lots of money, companies has decided, we're no longer going to do company matching. So now you also no longer have that free money. So, I would ask myself, well, if I'm not getting anything free and the market is crashing, is it beneficial for me to put my money in there? And again, only you can answer that for you. Me personally, I know that there's some more safe, some safer opportunities out there for me that may not give me the same interest, earnings as maybe a 401k when it's doing great. But because of the situation we are in now, I know it's going to get me anywhere from 2 to 4%, which I'd rather take that than take nothing at all. I'd rather take that than have my money vanish right before my eyes. But again, that's me. That's not me telling you what to do, but that's just me. Okay, so back to this 401k. Understand also, right? Let's say you've been on a job for 2, 3, 4 years. The money that's available to withdraw is money that you're actually vested in. Vested means that you've been in it long enough for them to say that that portion now belongs to you, right? So you're usually always vested in your contribution 100% because you work for it. But the portion that the company contributed to that matching portion, it usually is on a prorated basis, usually anywhere between 3, 5, and 7 years before they consider you completely vested where you can take that money. So now you may only be allowed to take up to the amount of the contribution that you've put into that account. And again, you're waiving the fee, the penalty, but not the taxes. The taxes does not get waived on that, right? And it's very, very important that you understand that. I had some notes here. Here is something that's very important that people need to really understand is that when the government start lifting rules, don't get excited because it's good on the front end, but you best believe there's something required of you on the back end. And again, if they're giving stimulus checks to everybody, someone has to pay that. So how better to pay that than through taxation? And an easy way to tax without hurting the bulk of Americans unfairly is to say, okay, if you take out your 401k, we'll tax you there because it's a rule anyway, right? It's a tax deferred account. You know that once you take the money out, you're taxed on it. So what better way to, get over on people that way? So I just really encourage you to be careful about some of the things that you hear, right? You don't want to go and take money out of your 401k in order to pay your mortgage. Why? Because your mortgage may have programs in place. I'm understanding that not only are some mortgage companies deferring mortgage payments, but they're also offering some forgiveness programs. So you may be able to go from an $1,100 a month mortgage down to a $600 a month mortgage because of this situation. Where you may not have been able to get a mortgage modification in the past, you may be able to get a mortgage modification now. You don't know until you call and ask and do the paperwork. Don't just run to your employer or your 401 person and say, I want to take out, X amount of dollars, and then, so that you can pay your mortgage, when your mortgage company may have programs in place. So then you can bypass being hit with that income, unnecessarily, right? You don't want to create that type of tax event for yourself, because here's the truth of the matter, right? Let's say you're hit with that as an income distribution, then you're hit with the taxes at tax time, and then let's say those taxes that are now owed are 4, 5, $6,000, whereas you may have gotten $2,000, $3,000 back in a refund in the past because of earned income, but now you've wiped away that earned income capability, and now puts you in a tax debt of, you know, 4, 5, $6,000 or more. And now, if you don't have that money to pay, you have to get on a payment plan, and then you get penalized and all of this and yada, yada, yada. The amount of money you now owe on your taxes. So you have to pay attention to all of this. Just don't go running to do something because everybody else is doing it, right? We saw that back in the housing crisis. We saw people doing mortgage refinancing without having to show proof of income and things like that. And one person was able to do it, and they told 2 friends, and then they told 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on. Next thing you know, you had whole communities wiped out because people were unable to pay these subprime mortgages, you know, and this predatory lending, and all of a sudden everybody was in a foreclosure because that case of, first of all, mismanagement and of funds and mistreatment of people of color. And then one person saw it was a great deal, like, girl, you ought to do this. And then they did it, and like, girl, you ought to do this. And then they did it, and all of a sudden everybody's doing it. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Do something different. Get on the phone with your tax preparer, your tax accountant, your financial person. Get these people on to open your own books and look at your own life. Look at your bank account. Look at your spending habit. I've said it before. This is a great time to reconcile your bank accounts. I've said it before. This is a great time to create a budget for yourself and make a new commitment to do things different financially. I've said it many times before. This is the time to really, really rein things in and become disciplined in how you're spending. This is not the time to get frantic. This is not the time to become reactive. This is not the time to become fearful and do something financially that you're going to regret in the future. So before you start taking money from your 401k, pay attention to your situation and then think it through and see if it's really, really absolutely necessary. I can almost assure you that for most people, it's not necessary. Not right now. I always say, hey, it ain't over till it's over. And it ain't over. It's not over. It's just beginning. So we're at the beginning of this thing. We don't know what type of grants are coming through, private grants. And, you know, I just heard Warren Buffett just cashed in some stock. You know, they're saying that he did it because of the market, blah, blah, blah. Hey, for all I know, he may have done it so that he could support our frontline people. He may have wanted some cash available so he can offer some grants and some financial assistance for some individuals. We never know why a person who with his kind of wealth does a certain thing, but we want to be on the lookout for these grants and low-cost loans before we put ourselves in a financial bind, jumping into things without doing our due diligence, without doing our research, and without talking to the right professional to guide us in the direction. Don't be listening to folks saying that this is a great time to do X, Y, Z. It may be, but it just may not be a great time for you. And at the end of the day, the only person that matters in this is how you and your family are being affected financially through this coronavirus. So that's all I really have. Again, look it up for yourself. You know, again, the government is letting up on some of the rules for 401k and 403b in this crisis that we're seeing, whereas they are allowing individuals to tap into those retirement markets, which before had penalties if you were under 59 and a half. Now they're allowing people to tap into those up to $100,000. But again, you want to make sure that you're doing this because you truly need it, and there's no other options available to you, because if you don't, it does become an income taxable event, and you don't want to be put in a situation next year or the year after that where now you have an income tax debt, where you may not have been penalized for the 401k distribution, but now you're being penalized for the lack of payment based on the prepayment penalty of owing back taxes, right? So that's all I have for you today. I hope you were able to get something out of it, at least enough to do some research on your own into this. There are, again, a couple of news outlets that do have some articles up about this loosening of, it's the CARES Act, but I tell you, if you put in CARES Act, CARES, if you put in CARES Act, you're going to come up with like 3, 4, 5 different things pertaining to CARES Act, because the government is not the only entity that use CARES as an acronym. So you may want to just put something in the search bar, simple like 401k, withdrawal, and coronavirus, something like that. So it will bring up that detailed information for you. All right. So that's all I have right now. I do want to first also, before I leave, I want to apologize. I did say a couple of days ago that I would be on here every day, which I have not. But I also said a couple of days ago that me and consistency are not friends. When it comes down to consistency being on Facebook, it becomes hard for me because I am doing a couple of different things. I am working from home for a company. I run my own business. I'm a parent. Of course, right now we are all homeschooling and things of that nature. I also, take care of some errands and things for my aging mom. And so time just becomes very limited. And of course, I'm just like everybody else struggling through this thing, this coronavirus, being at home. By nature, I'm a homebody, but it's different when you're forced to stay home and you can't go out, and you can't see the outside world and talk to people. Normally, I prospect for clients by going to businesses. I'm not that cold call kind of person. I don't like to sit still. I can sit in the house, but I can't sit still, if that makes sense. And so I'm going through some things just like the next person, right? So consistency for me becomes a little difficult. So I do apologize for that. But I will try my very best to bring something to you at least a few times a week, right? So that, one, you see my face and I am okay. And I thank everyone who has prayed for me and checked in on me and sent text messages and things like that. Your love and your concern is, very much appreciated. And I thank you. And I pray for you as you pray for me. So with that being said, stay safe, practice social distancing, and I'll see you again soon. Peace.